What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new Death Stranding video, so let's get into it. So in today's video, guys, we're going to be trying to answer a question, and that question is, what really is Death Stranding? So let's talk about it. So I came across an article that was from Games Radar, and it was an article written by Josh West, which I thought was a really good article that you guys definitely should check out. It, as always, guys, will be linked in the description down below. But let's talk about some segments here, and I want to give you guys my opinion as to what I think really Death Stranding might very well be. But I feel that Josh left some very good points in here and did a really good job at describing some of the theories and such. As inherently political, purposefully obscure, and undoubtedly metaphysical as his games are, each of them has an idea that is easy to understand at the heart of them. That was true of Snatcher, that was true of Bacte, The Sun is in Your Hands, Metal Gear, Police Knots, and what little we were lucky enough to see of Silent Hills through the lens of PT. Oh, and guess what? It's true of Death Stranding as well. You have to cut through a lot of bullshit to find it, but it's there, nestled behind the messy themes of motherhood he seems so intent on exploring. To understand Death Stranding, the intent behind its narrative, and the type of game that it is trying to be, you need to forget about the BBs, BTs, and strangely captivating urination systems. Forget the famous faces with unfamiliar voices and the whirlwind of conflicting science fiction tropes wrestling for your attention at any one given moment in time. Hideo Kojima has long attempted, somewhat unsuccessfully, to explain that Death Stranding was a game about connection, and has taken a new behind closed doors demonstration finally gave me a clear idea of the intent behind his labored explanations. The thing that really stood out to me was just how simple this game is at its core. Death Stranding is a game about walking. As Sam Porter Bridges, or as you probably know him, Norman Reedus, trapped in the uncanny valley, you are tasked with walking from the east coast of America to the west, reactivating various communication nodes along the way in an effort to spread a message of hope to a nation that has become fragmented and disconnected, taking the idea of unity to pockets of an isolated populace that trades in ambivalence rather than love. That is Death Stranding. And so you will walk. You will retrace the steps of Emily, daughter of the President of the United Cities of America, who embarked on her own east to west journey with a convoy sometime before the game kicks into gear. She did this in an attempt to establish a network of communication relays across the country, a network that could deliver a message of unity from her mother, Bridget, who also happens to be on death's door. That message is that every problem in the world needn't be solved by force. Instead, it is hope that can bring us all together. So right here, guys, in this small segment of the article, I do agree with a lot of what Josh is saying here. However, I believe that there's been a lot of clear cut, and a lot of people, that are conspiracy theorists about this game, that it's all about connections and such. So he kind of said that he was saying that it wasn't very clear that it was about connection, but I think that it's been pretty clear that it's been about connections. It's about, these strands that connect people and such. And really what Hideo Kojima was trying to say was, in the beginning of when this game was kind of being teased, he was saying that he wants to connect the entire world. And so I think that through these strands, it's connecting everyone. And what that's going to translate to, I'm not sure, but I think it's been pretty clear. Some of these other statements by Josh, I do agree with. I think that a lot of this up to this point is very much so. I wouldn't be surprised if this is definitely what this game is all about. Off on the edge of the Pacific is Edge Knot City, home to a group being painted as a decentralized force, separatists and terrorists, the Homo demons, who are intent on ensuring their own independence. It's on the road to Edge Knot City, on the road to building a bond with the most dangerous and disconnected portion of this vision of a fragmented America. Where Emily was captured, she appears to Sam as a hologram projection in everything that we have seen so far, never aging, looking to him as she did back on that beach. She's safe, she tells Sam, and she's free to talk to him and use the facilities as much as she likes. She isn't in a prison. She is keen to know she just isn't able to leave the confines of Edge Knot City. Connect the country up to the communication network, see if you can rescue Emily from the Homo demons, and their leader Higgs, the man in the golden mask, played by Troy Baker, and spread the message of a dying president to halt the otherwise irreversible fracture of society. There's your story in Death Stranding. It's no more confusing than that. It's the drive to get you moving through the world and the core tenet to the gameplay. The rest of it is all noise, a collection of gamification and esoteric sci-fi concepts to introduce conflict. Death Stranding is a game about a pilgrimage, about activating communication relays, and about delivering parcels to isolated corners of America in an attempt to establish social strands, building bonds with your fellow man in an effort to inspire hope in a dying society. So I agree with this to a degree. Building bonds with your fellow man in an effort to inspire hope in a dying society, couldn't say it better for sure from what I've kind of collected from Death Stranding. However, I do think there's a lot more to this actually than what Josh is saying. I believe that it is kind of simple as far as in a way, but I think there's so much deep meaning behind this game. We saw it very early on with early trailers where it somewhat looks like you're on different planets. There was talk about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. There was, of course, the necklace that Norman Reedus or Sam Porter Bridges is wearing, which we'll talk about here shortly. There's a lot of things in this game, in my opinion, that, not all that they may seem, or there is some complexity to this game that Hideo is giving us hints about. And maybe it is very simple when it's all said and done. However, I do think that there are going to be a lot of things within this game that are quite shocking and very mysterious and psychological. I know that we've all had a great deal of fun with the Death Stranding theories, trying to work out what Sam's necklace is and what it might represent. It's an intriguing mystery, isn't it? A necklace made of 6 tags, each inscribed with various equations. A device that seems to defy gravity at times. How exciting. It turns out this necklace is a QPIP assigned to Sam by Di Hardman, the gentleman seen wearing a black face mask in the trailers, in a behind closed doors video that establishes the story and setup of the game. That necklace is a security key, not like a cool key that disrupts the fabric of time or alters reality through Einstein equations, as we've been rampantly speculating for months, but an actual key. The kind of key that postmen carry around with them to unlock post boxes. Yep, the QPIP is used to unlock the Cryon terminals, the communication relays out in the world that have been taken offline. The idea here is that Sam is to connect each of the terminals to the overall network from their respective station's control panel, which will then create a bond or, a strand. Connect the terminal to the network, and the United Cities of America can extend the reach of its message a little further and in step attempt to rebuild connections amongst the nation. Think of Sam as an engineer that has been assigned by the US government to slowly cross the country to repair damaged phone lines, all in an effort to better transmit a core political message to literally and figuratively connect the nation back together. As you establish these connections, you can pull open the map and track your progress across the country. There's a clear radial spray denoting how much of an area has been marked following its connection to the network. Meters pop up to show the strands you have made with other NPCs as you complete fetch quests for them, delivering them their mail. To be honest, after seeing this section of the game, I'm not entirely unconvinced that this isn't a game built around the synchronization viewpoints of Assassin's Creed or the lighting of the beacons in The Lord of the Rings. The best way to visualize these systems is to consider what happens to the map in any of the Assassin's Creed games once you scale a tower, take in the view, and get assaulted by a battery of waypoints. We don't know how the online elements will work. Aside from players being able to urinate in the same spot to spawn gross mushrooms, we also don't know all that much about the other side of the demonic enemies crashing through into this reality, tethered to another plane of existence by thick black umbilical cords. And we definitely don't know why Kojima seems so intent on building narrative threads around decaying babies in utero. But we do know that there will be a lot of walking, a lot of activating points of interest, a lot of fetch quests, and a simple narrative through line that is easy to grasp. All things considered, that's enough for me. So overall, guys, I feel like this is a very well done article. But I gotta say that I feel that Kojima wants us to think that it's going to be pretty simple. He teased it as very complex, and as time has gone, he's been teasing it as maybe a little bit more simplistic. But I just feel, guys, that there is going to be a lot more to this than what Josh is saying. Now, I do think that it's going to be, some of the concepts are going to be very, very simple. A lot of walking, I think, is very true. But, especially I want to focus in on this last, this second to last paragraph where he says the other side are the demonic enemies crashing through into this reality. I gotta say, so that's the big question mark for me is that. And then if you were to take the first two trailers that first came out and you put them side by side, it's very interesting just how in sync those are with one another. When Guillermo del Toro's character turns the knob on the machine that has the baby inside of it, the baby comes to life, and the baby in the first trailer with Norman Reedus disappears. So I believe that there is actually a lot of time and every minute kind of counts within this story, similar to that of Interstellar. I believe there's going to be multiple worlds, and maybe there's only one world, but I believe that there's going to be multiple worlds that you are traveling on. I think that they're only showing us a fragment of what is really going to be this game that is Death Stranding. And let's talk a little bit about those 6 dog tags that Norman Reedus or Sam Porter Bridges is wearing around his neck. You can see here all these different equations and such. Sam's Cupid is a necklace with a series of tag-engraved physics equations which are used to gain access to the chiral network. Placing the necklace at an appropriate terminal establishes a new strand in the chiral network for a given location. All established strand points are accessible to those bearing the required equations. And if you look at all these equations, so you're looking at the reaction diffusion equation, represented in the general form. You're looking at the Dirac equation, a part of quantum mechanics relating to Einstein's special relativity. It predicted the existence of antimatter. Higgs field, which is an equation in a simplified form. Einstein field equation, which describes gravitation and notably uses Einstein's gravitational constant. Then you got the Schwarzschild radius and the quantum entanglement state. The Schwarzschild radius is the radius to which an object would have to be compressed, increasing its density without losing any of its mass in order to turn it into a black hole. Which there was a lot of speculation that this was stating that the planet in which Sam is on is near a black hole, which is kind of like, of course, similar to Interstellar, where they would go through the black hole to get to, into another galaxy. And then, 1 hour on one planet would be, a year to 10 years here on Earth. So it's a very interesting dynamic, but I would say that possibly the planet, which is the United States of America, might very well be near a black hole. It's hard to say, but we're never going to really know until the game launches and we can kind of break down everything. But I will say this, guys, that Death Stranding, what really is it? And I think that what Josh was trying to say in the article was very good, and it's a great, perspective that he was kind of looking at it. But I think there's so many different perspectives. The truth is I don't know, even when this game comes out, if we're really going to know what Death Stranding is. It's going to be very interesting come launch day, and I'm excited to go on this journey with all of you guys as we connect strands with one another, try to connect, as Hideo has said, connecting the world through strands. And the online mode, well, that very well may have something to do with connections as well. It has to be, right? It's Death Stranding, it's Hideo Kojima, the brilliant mastermind of our time when it comes to the video game industry. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.